week's episode of Bringing Simplicity Unfiltered, where we are talking about the reason that your ads will fail. And it is tied back to our 3 C's. Let's see if Judy can remember what the 3 C's, the 3 C's are.
Okay, I know for sure it is commitment,
Yep.
um, connection, and then I
Yep.
can't think. Oh, I can't think.
Conversion.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, so anytime we're looking at the success of an ad, like ads or just a business in general, we're typically looking at the 3 C's. The problem is that we always say we literally say 3 C's as opposed to saying them. So in our brains, it's just is the 3 C's. So connection is, how are you interacting with people in your DMs? How are you presenting value to them? Are you treating them like a human versus dollar signs? Conversion is looking at your funnels, your emails, your text messages, your tech and automation, your sales sequences. And then commitment is continually showing up even when you're not getting sales or leads, because that's really the name of the game when it comes to entrepreneurship.
100.
So I know you hear me talk all the time, Judy, about campaigns of ours that are going well. And that's typically because we're focusing on these 3 C's. But can you walk through for everybody something that you see break, where maybe somebody's coming to us and they've spent a ridiculous amount of money on ads and they didn't convert? What C do you typically see broken?
I mainly see the conversion
Okay.
piece where people are not asking for the sale. They think that they are. They're like, I'm telling people that you have 3 spots left in your mastermind or in your program are different than we are starting tomorrow. I'd love to support you in your business with da 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 based on everything you told me while we've been connecting over DMs for the last 5 months. And are you ready to make this commitment to yourself and work with me? We're gonna get started. But like that's totally different than being like, hey, like they think that, oh, I've asked for the sale because I posted on my story that I have 3 spots left. Not the same.
Not the same as personally reaching out, and that could be through automation but also one-on-one DMs. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah, it could be through whatever way you want to do it or you found. And I obviously we suggest trying different ways and different methods based on your program until you figure out which one is the one that works for you.
Yeah. One thing, and I love, if you guys don't know, I focus a lot on the marketing side of things, and then Judy focuses a lot on the sales side of things. And where it gets fun is that in the funnel piece, after a pitch has been made, it's kind of like a cross between marketing and sales. So Judy has to push me to really ask for that sales in the emails, because my like natural tendency is like to nurture. Not that Judy doesn't nurture, but she's definitely going for that sale. And one thing that we talk about a lot, and I ask you to gut check me on, that I think really applies to what you're saying too, is selling the vacation, not the steps it takes to get on vacation. So can you walk everybody through that? Because I feel like that's where the conversion C breaks down too.
Yeah, totally. Everybody wants to say, hey, I'm going to do all of these things for you. Like, this is exactly what we're going to do in my program. Week one, we're going to do this, and I'm going to give you this resource. And if you haven't done this, and what they do is they create basically, I want to say, this is weird, a constipated seller, like a constipated mind. Because like you're filling up all of this bloat, like you're basically bloating them with all this information. So I didn't know if I was going to say that. I was like,
Wait,
it
so is
sounds
it a
gross. I
constipated
didn't say it.
seller or is it a constipated buyer? Like they're filled with so much.
Yeah, true. It's both. Like you're constipated a little bit because, like, I guess you're bloated and you're trying to get your constipation out, and you're handing that over to the buyer. So you're exactly right. So like then you create a constipated buyer, which then is like, I don't know what to do. Like if you've ever been in that moment where you're like, Okay, if you're constipated, you're not making any decisions. Okay, you're not making any decisions, especially on your business.
I love this is totally unfiltered because I also just keep hearing like shit or get off the pot. And it's like, well, if you're constipated, you can't shit. So you're just going to stay on the pot. And like, you're
You're
not going to
just
buy.
exactly. They're never gonna buy. And so that just came to me. Like these things just kind of come to me. I wasn't expecting to have this conversation with you guys today about being constipated. But is you're overwhelming them with all of these things and they're literally thinking through their mind, well, I don't have the time to do that. When am I gonna find the time? Or you shut yourself down because they're like, I actually already did that in the other mastermind I was just in, and that provided zero value for me.
Right.
And so you're hitting too many points. And so you're talking about basically when I'm comparing it to Greta, what you said, selling not selling the vacation, you're selling, like basically you're telling them, oh, how dreadful it is to get through TSA pre-check. And don't forget to get to the airport early. And if you don't and also like you only get so many bags and make sure you weigh those before you get on. Like that's basically what you're telling them when you're like, this is what we're going to be talking about. Versus if you sell the vacation, you're selling like, how excited are you going to be when your 10-year-old walks into the gates of Disney World? Like, that's what you're selling. You're selling that emotion and the outcome and what's in it for them. Like, there is no price that you could put on for a parent to be like, yes, I cannot wait to see my child walk through Disney, like the gates of Disney for the first time. Like there's no price. And then all of a sudden when you put your price, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. So I'm going to connect that, no pun intended, to connection because we kind of went straight to the conversion because we do see that as like one of the biggest breakdowns. Just going to go ahead and say that. But I think where the connection piece won't be successful if you just dive right into selling the vacation is if you haven't had the connection piece established where you're really showing people that that transformation is actually true, right? Like it's one thing to sell the vacation, but if you've never actually had somebody have a magical moment when they walk through the doors of Disney, it feels inauthentic, right? Like, so I think that the more you can be on social media and really connecting with people and showing them like this is the actual outcome of the work that I do with people, then when it comes time to make that conversion piece, it doesn't feel like the first time you're saying it, and it feels very authentic and genuine, not like salesy and like yucky.
100%. And I think Greta, this actually brings a good point to where I was reading a book the other day where it's like you're gonna sell differently. When I say sell, you're gonna connect differently to Greta's wants and needs versus mine. Like if you are trying to sell us as a company a certain software or platform, you're going to sell Greta based on does it give her the data she needs to make quicker decisions, right? And you're going to sell me on the ease of it is for our team to get through and make them more productive throughout their day. So you're like, what is it? What is the connection that you're making? And if you're selling this to parents, right? Like it's like you're gonna sell and connect differently. You're gonna connect differently, and then like you said, Greta, you're going to the what's in it for them, and the conversion piece is gonna be different based on who you're selling to. So you have to know who you're talking to.
For sure. I'm like, what's the other? Okay, so then the last one is commitment, which it kind of goes back to both the other two C's, and that is, are you committed to posting consistently? Are you posting, we think a minimum of 3 times per week? Are you committed to showing up even when your launch isn't selling? Because like, let's be honest, that happens. We launch things and they flop. But you still have to like ride it through the whole thing. Because that only builds momentum for the next launch, right? Like you either earn or you learn, like it's one or the other. And I think a lot of times what happens is people don't see immediate like comments on their social media or don't see people immediately purchasing. And then like the natural like human response is to like shrink and hide because it's clearly a me problem. When the reality is, no, you just have to stay committed to showing up regardless of what the response is from the outside world.
Exactly. Exactly. And if we tie it back to psychology, because like to tie it back to psychology, people are looking for people who are there not just when they want to make a sale.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, I know when you're about to launch something new.
100%.
People who are listening, I know. I knew. I knew when Kim Kardashian was going to be, when Skims was going to be the spokesperson for the NBA when she was about to launch her thing. Why?
Yeah.
Because she started going to NBA games
Yeah.
like months before it became like they were a partner
Right.
in the NBA and the WNBA. I know when you're about to launch something, but are you only showing up when it's convenient for you and you're about to make money? Or are you showing up even on the days when you don't have nothing to launch? Because
Right.
those are the people that I want to work with. Those are the people who know, I know that if they can show up for themselves when it's not for a sale, then they can show up for me and my business. And that's what, like, even though you're not saying it, you're saying it when you're not posting 2 to 3 times a week. And
100%.
so it's a commitment to just what you say you're going to do, and the connection and the conversion piece shows up in the commitment.
Yeah. And I want to just wrap us up and say, a lot of media buyers or people who would run your account wouldn't have these hard conversations with you. It's so easy to say, like, oh, yeah, just run ads and you'll get sales. Like, because there are times you'll run ads and just get sales. But the people who come to us and have said, I've spent a lot of money on ads and I haven't seen a conversion, or the people who, comment on posts or send DMs and are like, I'm afraid to run ads again because I've had a horrible experience. It's because it's not easy to have conversations about showing up even when it feels not fun as an entrepreneur. Let's be honest. It's not easy to talk about having like real authentic conversations with your potential clients because it is exhausting to a certain extent, right? And it's not easy to consistently, rewrite, reread, whatever, all of your emails and stuff to have them resonate with your ideal client. But like that is entrepreneurship. And so while I always will say bringing simplicity brings the simplicity, there is no easy button to entrepreneurship.
No, it's not easy. Entrepreneur, it's simple,
It's
but
simple,
it's not easy.
but it's not easy.
And when you have a community around you who supports you and are willing to tell you the things, that's what makes it worth it
Yeah.
on most days.
So that's it for this week's Bringing Simplicity Unfiltered. We will see you next week when we'll be talking about who knows what.
Yeah. See you next
Bye.
week. Bye.